The Wild West, a land of endless horizons, lawless frontiers, and untamed wilderness. But how did this vast and wild land become part of the United States? Today we're diving into the epic story of westward expansion, manifest destiny, and the conquest of the American frontier. In the early 1800s, the United States was a young nation, confined mostly to the east of the Mississippi River. But the dream of westward expansion was fueled by the idea of manifest destiny, the belief that the United States was destined by God to expand across the entire continent, from the Atlantic to the Pacific. The Louisiana Purchase in 1803 was a game changer. With one stroke, President Thomas Jefferson doubled the size of the United States, acquiring 828,000 square miles of land from France. This set the stage for the epic journey west. Curiosity time. Did you know the Louisiana Purchase cost the United States just $15 million? That's about 4 cents per acre. The pioneers were the first wave of settlers to push into the West. From the 1840s onward, thousands of families packed up their lives and traveled westward in covered wagons along the famous Oregon Trail, a 2,000-mile journey filled with danger, hardship, and adventure. But it wasn't just the journey that was tough. Many pioneers faced hostile environments, disease, and the threat of Native American attacks. And speaking of Native Americans, for centuries, Native American tribes had lived in these lands. From the Sioux in the northern plains to the Apache in the southwest, these tribes had rich cultures and deep connections to their territories. But as settlers moved west, these lands were taken, leading to decades of violent conflict. The United States government, hungry for more land, forced many tribes onto reservations. Famous figures like Sitting Bull and Geronimo led fierce resistance, but in the end, Native American tribes were overwhelmed by the sheer numbers of settlers and the might of the United States military. Fun fact, the Battle of Little Bighorn in 1876, also known as Custer's Last Stand, was one of the few victories for Native Americans. Led by Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse, the Sioux and Cheyenne defeated General Custer's forces, but it would be one of the last major victories for Native Americans. In 1848, gold was discovered at Sutter's Mill in California, sparking the California Gold Rush. Thousands of fortune seekers known as 49 ERs rushed to the west, dreaming of striking it rich. Towns like San Francisco exploded in population, and the West became the land of opportunity. Fun fact: at the height of the gold rush, San Francisco's population grew from just 1,000 people to over 25,000 in a single year. But gold wasn't the only thing driving people west. In 1869, the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad revolutionized travel and trade. For the first time, you could travel from coast to coast in just a week. The railroad brought settlers, supplies, and industry to the West, transforming it forever. One of the biggest factors in settling the West was the Homestead Act of 1862. This law offered 160 acres of free land to any American willing to settle and improve it for 5 years. Millions took up the offer, creating thousands of new farms across the Great Plains. And then there were the cowboys, the iconic figures of the Wild West. In the late 1800s, cattle ranching became a major industry, and cowboys herded millions of cattle across vast distances to markets in the East. It was a tough, dangerous job, but it gave rise to the legendary cowboy culture we associate with the Old West today. Curiosity. Ever wondered how cowboys stayed entertained on the trail? They played music on the harmonica, told tall tales, and even held rodeo-style competitions among themselves. As settlers pushed deeper into Native American territories, conflicts known as the Indian Wars erupted. The U.S. government waged a series of brutal campaigns to remove Native Americans from their lands, culminating in tragic events like the massacre at Wounded Knee in 1890, where over 250 Lakota men, women, and children were killed. By the end of the 19th century, most Native Americans had been forced onto reservations, and the era of the Wild West was coming to an end. The story of the West didn't end with the closing of the frontier. In fact, the Wild West became a central part of American mythology. Cowboy culture, outlaw legends like Billy the Kid and Jesse James, and lawmen like Wyatt Earp were immortalized in books, dime novels, and later, Hollywood movies. But the real West was much more complex. It wasn't just a land of adventure, it was a place of cultural clashes, brutal wars, and rapid economic change. The myth of the West might be larger than life, but the reality was often harsh and unforgiving. The conquest of the West transformed the United States, turning it into a continental power. But it came at a great cost to Native American peoples, to the environment, and to those who struggled to survive in this unforgiving land. From the pioneers to the cowboys, from the gold rush to the railroads, the story of the American West is one of triumph and tragedy, of dreams fulfilled and dreams destroyed. It's a story that shaped the nation, and it's one we continue to tell today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and let us know in the comments what fascinates you most about the Wild West. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on our journey through history.